Hello. Hi everyone. So our live will start in 5 minute time. You can share out to your friend. You can share out to uh, your loved one, even your colleague. Okay, today we talk about something relevant to us, which is the workplace mental health. So yeah, let's share this. Okay. Okay. So guys, wait for another 4 minutes. We're sharing out to more people to join us first. Hello, Luis. Yeah, I saw Luis is there. So let's say hi to us, okay? Those already joining. Okay. So guys, you can share out to your circle of friends. We are going to start soon. Another 2 minutes. Okay, I start seeing people joining in. So basically this hosting to 3 different platforms. One is my YouTube, another one is 2Page. So you guys can share out. Invite more people to aware about the workplace mental health because it's not relevant just to individual. We hope that more company will aware about the importance of holistic support, the organization intervention, and also the individual intervention. So we really can come out a more sustainable kind of workplace culture. Okay, so you no need to struggle and struggle in silence because now everyone join together to support us. Okay, so yeah, I think we can start now, Dr. Najwa. Okay, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, more and more people joining in. Good. So please share out, okay? So say hello to us if you are there. Okay. Oh, I see Louis. I see Xianghi. Hello. Good evening. Okay. So good evening, everyone. And thank you for being here today. So before we dive in, we thought we briefly introduce ourselves. So at least like you know why we care about the topic. Okay. So you can see our topic today is when your otak meet the workplace. Okay, so when stress isn't a personal failure. Okay, so this can be a conversational style of session. You don't necessarily must be like too serious about this. You actually can join in, give your comment, and when it's suitable, we will address your comment also. And okay, so from time to time, we will look at the comment box as well. So I am a Hero. People like to call me Dr. Hero. So I'm not a medical doctor. Okay, I'm an organization psychology. Okay, so most of my work with organization is actually trying to improve the performance, engagement, and well-being, no matter it's individual level or organization level. So usually after something that's already started to break down, then people look for me. Most of the time, I notice that either people need for team building, something leisure fun, then they will think of us. Or when it's really breakdown, individual breakdown is more like burnout. Normally, when they are stressed, I don't see people come for stress management. Mostly when they're already burnt out, so they feel like internal mental rupture, cognitive dissonance. They have so much of like they want but they can't. That's why they look for me lah. Even my training background is in organization psychology, but actually a lot of people know me as hypnotherapy because I do so much of like unconscious neurofeedback related work. So when people find that, "Ayo, I know but I can't," then they will look for me because it's related to unconscious mind. They think that, oh, it's my unconscious mind problem. Then they come to see me. But then we're trying to let them know that it's not just about the unconscious mind, it's also related to the system. Okay, it's also related to your psychosocial and also your biological pattern. So biopsychosocial, even spiritual, all these affecting us. So I often see in my practice, people actually often labeled as not resilient enough, or even like too sensitive, burnout. But in reality, the system actually they are working in could be actually have some system related issue. Like for example, when I do coaching for individual, I notice that sometimes it's not really that I if you keep coaching me, not necessarily I can keep on improving. Definitely there's room to improve, but sometimes it's really about the system. The system maybe is like not safe, or sometimes the system is lacking certain resource, even lacking support. So in the end, people can't really benefit by the individual coaching session also because it's not like something that can change. Sometimes think out of control, right? So my interest is not so much about so-called fixing individual, but we are more understanding how leadership behavior and also the job design and also like a culture, especially in Malaysia, how it actually can quietly shaping how people feel and function at work. That's why today the conversation today is not just first. It's not one and only. It's actually will be a series of conversation. You can perceive it as awareness. So once you have awareness, next time when you have really have some concern and you need some help, maybe you will recall whatever thing we share today. So that's why I also bring in a very like experience and also famous, Dr. Najwa. Okay, so Dr. Najwa, today the conversation really begin here because system actually they don't just affect moral, they actually affect our otak, right? Our brain. So, Dr. Najwa, can you introduce yourself to the audience here?
Okay, sure, Dr. Hiro. Thank you very much for having me. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Najwa. I'm a neuropsychiatrist and also a psychotherapist in a private hospital. In my clinic, day in and day out, I've been seeing individuals who are chronically stressed, emotionally drained, burnt out, even to the extent of having anxiety and depression. So today, I am here not to talk about diagnosis, but I'm here to discuss, to have the conversation about what's happening inside the brain when all the symptoms start to show up, when all these stresses start to build up and even reach to the peak, and how the system can help the employer and employee going through this and even becoming the important aspect from it even starts to occur. So in order, in a way, like we can even try to prevent it from happening rather than treating it once it's already there. Yeah, Dr. Hiro.
Yeah, I think that's why we thought that it will be useful to bring these two questions together, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, because we understand that both brain and the system, then we will stop blaming the individuals only, and then we start to design a better workplace.
Yes, that's why this is where the neuroscience meet the organization system. Yeah, there's a neuropsychiatric, right? So let's hear more from Dr. Najwa. So let me start with something that we hear all the time, which is what happened inside the brain when workplace stress turn into anxiety, burnout, or depression. So
Mm.
people always talk about employee are stressed. So it is like individual problem. This person lacking resilience. This person maybe like they even say, oh, this era of people they are like that or whatever, right? They always say that oh, the younger generation, the whatever generation got problem. So Dr. Najwa, from your perspective, the neuropsychiatric perspective, when stress go beyond just had bad days at work, what actually start to change in people?
Hmm. Usually kan Dr. Hero, at this point, stress stop being just an emotional thing. Usually it's already becoming functional. This is where people start to lose clarity, emotional dysregulation becoming more frequent, regulations dropping, and then decision making also become harder. It's not because the employee not caring, stop caring, but usually it's because of the brain shift into this we call survival mode. Okay, this stress response going on even biologically in the body. So it's not just, some people say, oh, you are stressed because you are not strong in your faith, you are not strong in your mind. No, if you understand really about chronic stress and burnout, it is even affecting you biologically. With prolonged stress, there will be sustained high cortisol, and the body reacts with a lot of physical symptoms, even leading to anxiety and depression. And it is only logical when it affects individual long enough. Of course, it will affect the organization too. However, kan Dr. Hiro, many organizations still treat stress as a personal issue only. From an organizational psychologist standpoint, why is this, Dr. Hiro, in your opinion?
I think it's because like, it's much easier. If blaming someone is better than blaming the whole group, the whole system, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's quite often when something happened to the company, they need to find a scapegoat. Someone need to actually be responsible for all the so-called problem. Yeah. So I think this is a very common thing in our culture, right? They always look for the scapegoat, who is the one who create all the chaos, right? So because this is actually it's a shortcut. Oh, I blame one person, then the person solve the problem, then everything okay. But actually, if the stress is personal, then by right, nowadays so much of AI support, so much of like mental health professional is supposed to have so much of problem already solved, right? Because if let's say individual stress management can solve everything, but still there's so much of problem in our society, even not just for adult, even for student. The societal rate among student, adolescent is much higher nowadays. So what happened? It is actually the system. The leader have to actually look into the job design, the leadership behavior, and also like the workload, the cultural, all this actually shaping our psychological well-being. So if we just look at individual level, actually, it is not really healthy in long run. It's actually, in fact, like we create even possible a bully system, because the people who are more stronger, they need to take over those people, their job, which is someone that are not well trained or whatever. So the people who actually help to cover the problem, they start to get angry with the person who are not competent. Even they were blaming the system who are not supporting them. So even eventually affect the company culture, become not a safe place, not a psychosocial safety climate. The whole environment become very like a blaming culture. So, and I remember just now, Dr. Najwa, you mentioned about the survival mode, right? So for leader in the room, so what does that actually, this survival mode look like in everyday work behavior? Do you notice that in your practice? Like how this pattern actually show in the employee?
Yeah. It's very frequent to be seen in the practice kan. But I think before we go into how it looks like, maybe we can just like go through a bit on why actually this survival mode become activated. There are a few reasons. One of it is that the employer feel threat. Maybe they feel shame, rejection, punishment at workplace. So instead of thriving, they just surviving. And then if they have repeated emotional invalidation, so they feel expressing self is very unsafe. They also have loss of control or predictability where there is unclear expectation about their work, or maybe inconsistency in the leadership itself, or there's a lot of changes, unpredictability that even causing the nervous system a lot of alert because they are not sure what to do kan. So many changes, unpredictability, feel like everything is like a threat to the nervous system. At times, they also like very high demand but low support. So they chronically become overload. And when this build up, they don't have a proper channel to repair or relieve. They don't know where they can speak up and get the help. So because of all these points, it leads to the survival mode. Instead of thriving, like I said just now, they are just surviving. So they just go to work to complete their task and get paid at the end of the month. There's no passion, there's no, like innovation, want to fulfill their fullest potential. There's no more all those things. It's more of like me surviving, me getting paid so that I can just go on with my life. So how leaders and the leader can see among the workers when they are in survival mode. One is that they are more quiet. They self-silencing, we call it kan, because they want to withhold opinions, needs and feedback because they don't feel safe. Even if they feel that their ideas are very innovative, very productive, very good, but they don't feel confident to share with it because doesn't feel safe. They even like over reading tones, email, feel that the hierarchy is very dangerous. Energy conservation mode. They only do whatever necessary to avoid trouble. There's a loss of reflective thinking, for example, and slowly the identity of people will shrink. They become invisible, and like I said just now, it's more of like just getting through the day. So this is seen when the nervous system is going to the survival mode. I guess this connects to what leaders often complain about to you lah, Dr. Hero, like lack of innovation. Do you see this quite frequently?
Yeah, I just received an inquiry today also. Like they asked me to do a team building. Then they said that they want to improve the innovation part in the employee. I was like, oh, not bad. They are no more just asking for team building. They are asking not just something for fun. They want to improve the innovation. They want the staff to be more self-motivated, intrinsic motivation to do work. So which is something like I really think that, oh, this is a good move. Like people, they don't just want to go for like just go for fun only. So that's why I believe that for us, right, we need to look at one keyword is psychosocial safety climate. So when the psychosocial safety climate, no matter is organization level or even individual level or even a family, a community, if imagine you have a parent who are authority, you won't tell your need, right? You'll be more silent, right? If you have a caregiver who always like, they don't give you a chance to express, in long run, express is dangerous. So express is not necessarily verbally express. Express my talent, showing my talent, let people see who am I. It can be so challenging and even like threatening, right? That's why the organization psychology lately, when I research about like overseas, even recently I went for an international like occupational safety conference. They talk a lot about occupational health psychology concept, which is psychosocial safety climate. So it's like if the weather is not good, you can't expect that the plant, the veggie there will grow well. So same thing to the brand. If the organization they can provide a psychosocial safety climate, which is the employee don't feel the company care about their mental health, the company the employee feel like the employer, the organization actually don't bother about their need, their right. In long run, the whole organization, their neuron will get affected. The brand will get affected. So then people will feel like, oh, I don't give feedback safer, just like what Dr. Najwa mentioned. Feedback is very risky. Okay, mistake are being punished, and then the compliance seems like more safer. That's why you're training a lot of people who are fawning. They just follow. Yeah. So silent is not really harmony. Silent is actually telling you the company has a lot of self-protection kind of behavior. This is actually one of the red flag. The leadership, the employer need to really look into it. So let's ground this into a very familiar scenario. Okay, let's see our case study. So imagine if an organization like this, so we give a scenario lah, huh? So a fast-growing Malaysian technology company where the performance metric dominate everything. Everything is about KPI. Okay, I think quite familiar, right? Okay, everyone also have this experience, right? KPI. So the emotion dismissed as too sensitive. Yeah. Do you somehow notice that in your friend company or even your company? If yes, put one, okay? You write one. So I see how many people always had this kind of experience. No matter it's you or your friend, your loved one. So the emotion you show dismissed as too sensitive or weak. The junior staff rarely speak in meeting. Okay, the junior staff, they rarely speak in meeting. Even they look like invisible. Okay, the result prioritize everything. Everything is about the result first, the KPI first. Okay, so okay, I see some people already comment it. So that's why when achievement culture silence the voice, everything is about, I see another individual. It's quite often the rest, if you don't put one, good for you. But if you have this, it's quite normal also because this is somehow this is how the society works, right? Especially we are developing country, so people always expect us to like to hit the KPI so we can grow, right? But if the achievement culture silence the voice, what psychological cause remain hidden beneath this so-called figure? So, Dr. Najwa, what happened over time in this kind of environment? How do you think environment who always asking for KPI rather than look at the individual as a, like, our mental health. Our mental health is not really prioritized, but we are more focused on the KPI only.
Yeah,
How do you
listening
think?
to the case study you mentioned, when emotional are labeled too sensitive, kan? People are not allowed to be human. People are not allowed to have emotion at times. Not like we are telling the person is dramatic or what. It's just like expressing emotion. Yeah, right. So sometimes, oh, you are too sensitive. It sounds very like very working environment that's very invalidating lah. So invalidating working environment, of course there will be consequences. To the worker of first thing first, there's a lot of self-doubt. And if this is like has been happening for a long period of time, it will be chronically lah kan, chronic self-doubt. So when they have self-doubt, like being gaslighted by the bosses kan, so they feel like emotion is dismissed, or they have to minimize their emotion because they don't want to be labeled dramatic, not professional, for example. With invalidating condition also, they will avoid to be visible, avoiding leadership roles because they feel lack of psychological safety. So better to be in a safe zone, comfort zone, rather than trying something and then you get the invalidation. With the chronic stress, things like that, it's not surprising the somatic pain, the somatic stress start to becoming more and more. Palpitation, body ache, gastritis, migraine, all those physical symptoms start to pop up because they have been suppressing a lot of emotion, and it turns out there's a somatic presentation. And um, invalidating environment also will cause staff reluctant to get help lah, because even though like every year the organization might do like, oh, mental health day, things like that, but they know it's just a slogan, it's just another KPI for the company to do, but it's not really embracing it. So on paper, this organization often look successful. The employee seems hardworking, like compliant, but I do notice some of the companies which have these issues struggle with retention. Retention the staff. Do you observe the same thing, Dr. Euro?
Yes, because I noticed that company, they normally like feel very shocked. Why the employee suddenly left the company? But I believe that even myself have experienced that the moment that we really want to leave, you already consider for a long time. It's like you already suppressed for long. That's the reason you choose to. Like some people that didn't find the next job, they just want to run away, isn't it? So very often the metric, they don't just show what's happening underneath. It's actually people that actually will like somehow stop sharing idea. They are silent. They stop sharing idea. It's not that they don't have idea. It's more like they feel unsafe to speak up. So it's like, as you can see my slide here, like they feel like it is so threatening to express. It will affect my KPI later, right? Let's say it's like later I share too much, the boss will think that I'm not happy with the boss, and the boss will affect my KPI, will affect my performance. So in the end, right, high performance employee, they will decide to resign first. Then after that, the one who stay, they disengage. So you will notice that some company, after many years or so-called surviving, you will only see a group of people that they're not motivated to share, and they're not necessarily the one who fix the job position most. They could be the one who actually just learn how to be reserved. They don't have so much of so-called bad record, but they don't have so much of good record also. So as long as they pass, then they slowly, gradually promote. So in the end, the company might have so much of people who actually, they may be not so suitable for that position, but they already become the, for certain position, they fill the role, but they're not really perform. So in the end, the upper level, they need to taking care of the one who actually didn't solve the so-called problem or not productive. They need to cover for their work. So like the people who are capable, they need to do double work or triple work. The person who are not really like suitable for the job role, but because they learn how to survive, they learn how to like keep quiet, fawning, then they can continue promote. So this thing is quite often happen in my client who come from burnout management. They tend to tell me the burnout. So sometimes I feel like, you should use your HRD code come for one-to-one coaching. Why you use your own money? Because somehow your burnout is all related to your company. That's what I feel sometimes. So it's like, that's why outside normally look stable doesn't mean that inside stable. Because another thing that I want to add is I notice a lot of my clients, they are not having the general standard kind of burnout. They're having the subtype of burnout, which means they are not like general kind of burnout, like, oh, I cannot do work, I always sick, I have so much of somatic response. Not necessarily, you know. That could be the last stage before they go into, after that, they might go into mental health crisis also. Later, Dr. Najwa can talk more about it. But I noticed a group of people who are burnout, they are more like subtype. That means they can really, really pay attention to work. They really highly focus on work, but they cannot enjoy their life. Or they're really highly focused in their work, they cannot enjoy their social life. Or they feel so empty inside. Even outside, they look like, oh, so successful, this manager or this employee, best employee. But they feel like so empty inside because everything they just follow order. They don't have their voice. They don't have their so-called right. They don't even can shine themselves. So sometimes whatever they do is more like to fulfill the system, not to fulfill, not like be the best self, you know, but maybe to be the best employee only. So sometimes I feel like, wow, they really burn out. A lot of people like this. In my practice, I saw so much of clients have this issue. That's why sometimes they rather give up everything because burnout is so mentally draining. They really take away your energy. They really make you have so much of strain. So a lot of people, they rather just quit everything rather than, you know, to spend another day or months to tolerate. They just want to run away. That is a problem when the brand is already no more resource and no support. You can't really like recharge. You only feel like want to shut down, run away. So shut down can be two ways. One way is I really resign. That is when I still have choice. But sometimes they also will suffer, but at least they will still do their best to find a job, right? There is way they shut down by resign, flight response. Another two group, I noticed this is what I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. But this is based on my observation. Another group is they cannot run away physically because they still have a lot of responsibility, taking care of the family, they need to pay their bill or whatever. So they dissociate mentally. So that mentally they are not there. Psychologically, mentally they are not there, but physically they are there. So they are not really like engaged. There's no work. There's no so much of work engagement. They are not engaging, or sometimes they're engaging, but in their autopilot mode. So you can ask them to do the routine thing. You cannot ask them to do anything extra. Anything extra or sudden change, they will become like burst. They cannot tahan at all. So that's one thing I noticed. People who are they are like burnout already, but they are high function kind. Like as long as you let me do things in a routine way. You don't ask me to do anything new, I cannot tolerate one. There's quite often I see client in this pattern. So they somehow dissociate, but not you can call it like they dissociate as a flow state. They highly focus in whatever thing that they already get used to it or whatever thing that they like. But they can be a healthy dissociation sometimes, but sometimes when it go into unhealthy one, they can go into depression or general burnout or whatever thing as well. They want Dr. Najwa that maybe you can talk more about it also. So Dr. Najwa, maybe since that we're already touching about the depression burnout, right? So maybe you can share a bit, how does chronic workplace stress, that was from the stress in individual, how it evolved into burnout and eventually they become depression. So in your practice, do you notice that?
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think the most common question kan people will ask like macam, I've been facing this work for so many years. Why now? They don't understand that when they start to have mental health disturbance kan, they start ada mental illness like anxiety and depression. It can be two ways. One, you have like an acute onset of something, then your stress just shot up. Or it's like one thing after another for a long period of time. So your cortisol level just slowly going up and up to a certain extent, it will start to trigger your stress response. With time, when the stress hormone is very high, when the cortisol is high, you will start to notice, if we are talking from the mental health point, anxiousness, you feel that sleep disrupted, kan? It's either difficulty to fall asleep, or when you sleep, it becomes interrupted. In depression, it's more common at times to have early morning awakening. You just wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you cannot fall asleep. And then your appetite can be like from one range to another. It's like sometimes some people don't feel the appetite at all. Some people overeating. Sleep also can be the same thing. Sometimes you cannot sleep. Sometimes some people hypersomnia. They just sleep a lot. Maybe one of the thing other than physiology is also coping, running away from your problem. When you sleep, you like escape for a while. Some people start to feel very lethargic, even though they're not doing much, but the energy is very low. Take all the supplements, vitamins, still feeling very less in energy, and then body ache. You sleep well, you buy a very expensive mattress and pillow, but when you wake up, still a lot of pain, because the high stress level makes your uh, body, your muscle not really relaxing. That's from the mental health part. You can have the anxiety and depression. Working in a hospital, I usually will get referral from ENT, for example, patient having vertigo. They already checked the ears and everything, no problem. Still, vertigo persisted. Started Betasec and everything, not improving. Some having tinnitus, for example, kan the ringing tu. Then migraine, improve a bit but still fluctuating. Body ache, even if they have like sleep disc, but normally maybe the score of pain 3/10, with prolonged stress suddenly it becomes 6/10, and then when they repeat the MRI finding still the same. Nothing changed, but the pain is getting more and more because the stress is more. For female, because cortisol is high, it will disturb with your estrogen and progesterone. That's why sometimes menstrual cycle also affected. So when people say, oh, like for our culture, kan, people say, oh, the mentally not strong lah, spiritually not strong. How can spiritually not strong affect your menses, for example? For men, sometimes it will affect the libido. So a lot of physical effect when the cortisol is high. These are the thing, of course, macam Dr. Hiro said just now, on the earlier part, there's a lot of burnout symptoms, subclinical burnout, but when you ignore it, to one point, you will have more physical symptom, having clear-cut mental health disorder, for example, and it will affect your activity of daily living. That is where usually you will start thinking, I need to do something. In my clinic, most women who ended up in my clinic, they notice that their irritability is so high, and they start scolding their kids, they start hitting their kids. So they feel guilty. They feel that they're not a good mother. That might be one of the reason why they ended up seeing me, because they feel that I cannot do this anymore. I cannot do this to my kids. It's not fair for them. So yeah, you need to see the extent of mental health at workplace affect your physical, mental health, and also interpersonal relationship in your life. People usually will be blamed, you are not resilient lah if you start to have mental health. Oh, I'm strong. I went through same thing of what you're going through right now, but I don't develop depression. Why you develop depression? So people are being blamed for not being resilient, kan? Which of course will accelerate the declination of your physical and mental health more. So back to you, Dr. Hiro. Like you said just now, kan, you are asked to run resilience training for organization. Do you think that's alone is enough to handle all these issues?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why we have this talk today. Because I really feel like the system is like, for me, a bit cruel. Why cruel? Because sometimes I feel like the survivor, no matter it's trauma survivor, no matter it's burnout survivor, or like even like mental health crisis survivor, them normally is the one who actually survive through the system. They're the scapegoat. They'll be the one who blame for not strong enough. So it is so common for company to choose someone so-called have problem and ask them to go for EAP, employee assistance program, whatever. And I really feel quite like sometimes I feel upset about it, because when I listen to their story, I really can see that it is really about the injustice in the system, the organization injustice, or the organization actually they can do something very not really big. They can be something very tiny, actually can solve so much of issue. But no one dare to speak up. They don't even have a way to raise the concern. It's so common that there's no a place, even there's a platform, that no one dare to raise the query. So in the end, there will be blamed as you are not strong enough. It is about your characteristic, your personality. Sometimes might even say that, oh, because you are like, you are not grateful. Even I hear this before. They say you are not grateful or whatever. So then the problem happen. Which is I feel like this is injustice in a way. Yeah. In trauma-informed care, the organization, the system supposed to protect us when they're the one who actually hurting us and even blaming us for something that not causing by us, but we just a survivor, or we even can be a victim. Can be a betrayal trauma, organization betrayal trauma. I will feel like, oh, I've been betrayed by the system who's supposed to support us. But now I was labeled as problematic. Even start to bully me. Yeah, I see this is very often. That's why sometimes the employee they raise the issue to, like, they go to look for occupational doctor, go to DOSH or whatever. Sometimes it's not necessary they 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 somehow like they want to attack the company. Sometimes they just feel like my right is violated for long. I really want to get here. So this is important that we need to have this platform and method to help the company also to assess the psychosocial risk assessment or whatever. Now DOSH also have the psychosocial risk assessment. It's something that compulsory the company need to go through the risk assessment, but a lot of company they're not yet aware. But it's actually very important, because if you didn't do the risk assessment, you can fine up to 500K. So it's something very like severe, right? If let's say you now someone 500K gone, can be some company 2 years revenue already, right? Yeah. So it is so important to aware about this, not just to compliant the national policy, but also it's about helping us to identify the training need. So we don't want just to ask someone to bear. When I studied the organization psychology, I like this concept they call it job demand resource even support, job demand resource support model. So this model talk about like if the company, whatever psychosocial demand is too high, and then your resource is lacking. So this resource can be your personal resource, your psychological well-being, but also including the support from your senior, from your colleague. All this also support, right? So let's say your support is less, the demand is so high, then look at this. It's not really balanced, right? When it's not balanced, then you can go into burnout, even mental health crisis easily. But let's say you ask a person keep on become more resilient, but demand you're giving them higher also. So what happened here? What happened? They will continue become burnout. They will become more and more burnout. So everyone become like, a frog in the onsen, the frog in the warm water, boiling water. Slowly you get cooked. You become the porridge. Okay. So somehow a lot of people, they didn't notice that. When their resilience get better, then the demand get higher. Resilient get better, company give them more demand. So in the end, burnout will happen. And sometimes the burnout is not happen just in the psychological level. It can happen in like biopsychosocial, even somatic level, like Dr. Najwa mentioned, they will start to have like panic, dissociation. Sometimes I see quite much of clients have seen some dissociation pattern, but this dissociation not necessarily unhealthy one. Unhealthy one sometimes become pathology, right? But a lot of people actually have so-called like very like healthy dissociation. When they're watching their phone TikTok, they will never stop one. They dissociate already. They go into TikTok or they're watching movie. Yeah, there's dissociation, right? You dissociate into your gadget, you dissociate into your book, you dissociate into like some interest, then you will never really like come into the present. So somehow a lot of people using the dissociation, but sometimes when you cannot dissociate anymore, you really need to face whatever thing make you feel threatened. They can really like make your nervous system actually go into a shutdown or hypervigilance mode. There's a reason why we need to actually, rather than like wait until it happens, we can actually do so much of prevention, not only individual level, but organization intervention. So the organization intervention and together with individual intervention, just like what me and Dr. Najwa do, is only we call it holistic way to support the interpersonal neurobiological level. Yeah, so it's a whole system. So that's why I see this pattern in company. They always invest a lot of things on like so-called like mental wellness program, corporate mental. I think it's a very good thing to improve the resource. But I think the demand part, we need to work something about it. Otherwise, the burnout will still persist, right? So you see, if let's say the company always have the mental health support system, even there's so much of EAP support there, but why the burnout Malaysia is still so high according to research? What do you think, Dr. Najwa?
I think kan because most of the well-being programs focusing on empowering the individuals, like making us more empowered, kan, better coping, increasing our resilience lah. However, the burnout unfortunately is created by the system. So we are handling the individuals, but the system itself is still not really supporting. So how resilient can you be if the environment still toxic, for example? Okay lah, toxic is like really bad lah. If not that toxic, maybe less supportive, judgy environment, for example. So there are the real gaps. And then they are like, like pouring well-being into a system, but it keeps draining. So without proper recovery, of course, the nervous system of the individuals, though, with the environment like that, it will never settle. And in your opinion, Dr. Hiro, all this like it keeps draining. Where are these holes usually found?
Yeah, I think this is actually we call psychosocial hazard. So all these hazard, right, can be like, for example, let me show you the slide. See this slide here? Yeah, the hole here. So the hole actually can be like the workload is too high, lacking support from senior, lacking support from colleague, the cultural issue, autonomy is lacking. Even sometimes it could be like the organization injustice, okay? Even bystander effect. All these things is very common in the organization. Imagine when the organization have 5 or 6 people, the bystander happen also can happen, like for example, why I need to do this work? This is not my job scope. That person said no, my job scope. That person said no, my job scope. So everyone push away. But imagine how about 50 people company. They will be like, no one will take it. Why? Because the role, the job scope, the role design is unclear. That can be also one of the whole. So if a company has so much of whole, lacking clarity, and lacking the justice, lacking the systematic support, and also lacking the well-designed job design, whatever. So even you pulling a lot of yoga, meditation, and wellness program, okay, that won't solve the real issue that the hole is there. Yeah. So the well-being program failed is not because the program is not good. It's because the real issue didn't solve. Just like, before I actually trained as a DOSH psychosocial trained person to provide the psychosocial risk assessment for company, I already actually investigate and oversee how they support the organization. Because I searching for training need assessment, and I found the total worker health is actually a system following the guideline to improve the psychosocial safety and psychosocial health of employee. So after learning it, and I thought, Malaysia also start to launch it, and which is like, I feel so happy lah. It's like, oh, Malaysia very change, right? The US doing it already, Malaysia start doing it. So then I noticed that a lot of company didn't do training need assessment. They just like, oh, Hero, I want to do this stress management program because my staff is stressed. So, or I want to do this leadership training program for my staff. So I want everyone like so I want them to like all pushing sales. Or Hero, I think my staff they need this communication program because they are not good in communication. Wow, sounds like, oh, okay, they seem to know what they need, right? But when I go for training, sometimes I notice that the staff feel like this is not relevant to them. I feel like the training is not relevant to them. Why? When we analyze, you will notice that sometimes it's lacking training need assessment. The company, they invest money in already. It's not cheap, when sometimes you even HID code money is there, but it's also not cheap. You might need to spend 6,000 to 10,000 for 1 day training, right? So if you spend that money, why not you do it properly? You do a training need assessment to find out what the company need, how this investment in employee well-being can really benefit company in long run. But a lot of people will think that, no need assessment lah, straight away jump. I already know what they need. It's not so easy to aware one, because a lot of things we notice is just surface level. They are not the root cause. They're just symptom showing. Just like, if like that, certain people can just go to pharmacy to say, oh, I think my mood is down, so I need this pill. Cannot, right? They need to see psychiatrist. They need to really consult. Only they know that what is the potential thing that they're having. Because you cannot focus doesn't mean that you definitely have ADHD. There can be many reasons, right? If you cannot focus, it could be like, or you start to have some depression symptom. You can be, even people with anxiety to also can have the focus problem one, right? Not necessarily you must be ADHD. So you need proper, so-called proper diagnostic and assessment, right? Same thing to company. You can't just simply say that, this company have problem because the staff is stressed. So I do stress management program. Cukup lah, close case. Not like that one. We need to do training need assessment. That's a reason, like, if people look for us, we always say that, we want to do training need assessment. Let's say I noticed that this company, the problem is actually like, the issue that a lot of turnover could be the bully case, the bully culture in the company. But why the company have bully? When we explore further using the assessment, the organization, the risk assessment or training need assessment, you might find out that, actually this company having some, like, the junior staff is not well trained. There's no someone well trained them. So then a lot of problem happen because a lot of people need to cover their work. So then the bully happen, and also like injustice happen, and the senior position also feel like injustice because they do double work but they only get one pay, right? They don't get double pay. So it's like they start to have so much anger or whatever. So it's like the organization, they need to work on so-called system issue. They need to fine-tune the system so things will get better. So I think it is really quite sad that this symptom, just like the brain fog, psychological issue, burnout, irritable, always framed as personal weakness. So Dr. Najwa, do you see in your clinic a lot of cases like this? Actually, there could be the survival of organization issue, but in the end, they pay their own money for for the issue actually causing by
Yeah.
the one who actually need to do something about it, right?
Yeah. Of course, it occurs very often. That's why sometimes after we see the client, if we find there is issues within the organization itself, whether unclear job scope. So maybe the person has been covering 2 to 3 other people's job scope because people resign, take over, but take over not only temporarily but for 2 3 years, and then invalidating surrounding things like that. Usually, other than treating the client, we will write a letter to the employer to ask some support from the workplace, because at the end of it, if the of course lah, if the worker themselves tell the boss, they might feel like macam, ya ke, betul ke you have this problem. But with the doctor's recommendation ke, psychologist recommendation kan, sometimes it does bring weightage to help our client, and we can have like this open communication with the HR, with the employer, on how to support while the client's improving in the recovery process. I guess at the end of it kan, why they, like people or in organization, they tend to say it's a personal weakness because blaming individuals may be safer rather than, like questioning the system itself. Questioning the system, you need to like do the assessment, proper training, revamp, things like that. So maybe for some people, it's just too much. You are having anxiety, you deal with it. Kan? So when we treat people, then the people return back to the same unsupportive environment, of course, the higher risk of relapse lah kan. Then kena ambil like prolonged MC, prolonged illness if they are still not out from the depression and anxiety, for example. Over time, this cycle breeds hopelessness to the person. They are not healing, and they feel trapped in the condition that they are in. In your opinion kan, Dr. Hiro, yes, they are blaming the individual, but it is affecting the organization itself. In what way does the organizational cost of that blame, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that is actually normally affecting the work engagement. So one thing is the work engagement. When the work engagement is not there, then people start to like, then talent, they will start to lose their potential. And then the idea will never share, as we mentioned before, the silent culture, and the risk will never take. So a lot of people, they won't take the risk, and the talent quietly disengage. So the bill doesn't actually come immediately, but it always comes. So the organization, when you notice, so silent, actually it's a good red flag, You start to aware that people don't want to share, don't want to talk anymore. It could be something that trigger them to feel unsafe. That is where we can have an open conversation like what Dr. Najwa mentioned. But I think it's very important to aware that it's like we need to really, really create a platform, also find a medium, an agent like psychologist, counselor, even like the trainer, even like coach, even like psychiatry. So who are like trained in doing this work, to really using the scientifically way to helping you to look at how to improve it. Not just saying that, oh, my specialty is stress management. So your company needs stress management, right? We really need to look into what your company needs. That's why we need to have a need assessment analysis. Find out what you need first. Then we provide necessary support. That will be really helping the company as a whole. So that's why me and Dr. Najwa, we keep learning. Yeah, we will never stop because we found out that there's so much of different issue. We need different skill set. We go here, learn this and that. In the end, is to make sure that we are responsible for our client, not just individual, but organization well-being. But definitely the recovery, the hope, with all the disengagement, work engagement issue, actually, I know that there's a way to recover. So, Dr. Najwa, in your opinion, people who've been stuck in this kind of survival mode, they have so much of like silent, phony, fight response. How can they recover from this survival mode that they already get used to it for many years? Can they do something about it?
Yeah, definitely. Human being very resilient by nature. Kan our brains always try to survive, and the brain is very adaptable. So when they went through treatment, therapy, and then the threat reduce, safety at workplace increase, there's clarity and emotional regulation returns, they can be back to their previous functioning. They can be a good worker, husband or wife, mother, kan? Because you know when now it will affect the interpersonal relationship to a certain extent. So yes, it can be repaired, provided and a few things need to be changed lah, kan? On the personal level and also at the psychosocial level. If not, recovery won't last in the system that stay the same. It's like you treat and then you put back in a dirty aquarium. Macam the fish is not well, you treat the fish and then you put it in the dirty aquarium. So the fish will keep becoming sick. That's how I see it.
Yes, I see the same pattern in organization and also individual level also. So we cannot train people out of problem that leadership or the system create. But I think like it is not easy because we need to really face it. So the way we approach about organization is you need to be like very you really need to learn how to packaging it, you know. You don't let the superior or even like senior management feel uncomfortable because the shame itself will make people avoid. Because naturally, no matter it's individual level or like organization level, the stigma, the shame of like something wrong in me will push people away. So that's why when we introduce, even let's say you all here who are listen to the talk, it is very important not to blame the organization or blame individual, but help them to see things in a more positive psychology perspective. For example, how to create more hope for the organization, how to make everyone feel more motivated to contribute. So using this kind of way to introduce training assessment will make the company feel more like motivated to try it. Yeah, even you tell the company like it's not to find any problem in the company, but to improve the company like certain KPI. Doing this will help. So that can driven people because everyone want improvement, they want grow, but people don't want to be labor. Yeah, that's why especially organization because you are facing people who are like more like senior, right? They tend to have this kind of like so-called we need to take care of their ego also, ego management. Right? It's very important. Don't go say, hey, Dr. Najwa and Dr. Hero talk about company will causing this problem leh. So you have so much of problem you need to fix. Sure your company won't do anything about it one. You
You are
promote
the
share.
problem. Say straight to
Yeah,
them. You are the
yeah,
problem.
yeah. So they will run away. It's very common, right? Yeah. So no one want to be blamed. So it's very important to reframe it, maybe like training assessment or how to improve certain like motivation in staff, better leadership, whatever. They will make people feel more engaging. So we coming into the end of our session. So Dr. Najwa, what is your key takeaway for the audience today?
Okay, it's the same thing. I feel that I'm like a broken record, repeating the same thing a few times tonight. Mental health recovery needs biological, psychological, social, spiritual approach. All four must go hand in hand. Medication and therapy may help the individual especially like my clients lah, they already have like depression, anxiety. But if the working environment stays the same, the social factor will undo all the benefit of the medication and the therapy, because the psychosocial part tu still there, not helping in the recovery process. Yeah. How about you,
Yes.
Dr. Hiro?
I think from organization psychology perspective, I strongly agree because I look at organization psychology not just the systematic issue. I look at it interpersonal neurobiological issue. So I really can relate to what Dr. Nadra mentioned, which is like the workplace well-being isn't just for people who are tough or strong. It's about making it a better place, a better system, a psychological safe environment that can nurture the talent. So when company have talent, it's not just making more profit only. It's also making people feel like want to stay in a company which they feel care, they feel love, they feel their value. Because I found that nowadays a lot of new generation they don't care so much about like uh just monetary. They actually care a lot about meaning, value. Well, do I feel valuable as a person here? Do I feel like there is a hope there? Do I feel safe? This is something that they're looking forward. So, like, I know many of you already asking, so what can you do next? No matter you are an employee or you are a boss or you are a senior management, what actually you can do about it? So, what do you think, Dr. Nandra?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, the first step is recognizing that workplace stress isn't a personal failure, it's a shared responsibility. So I think we can start from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I really agree that it's really like the it's not just one person responsible, it's our whole community. So if you notice this thing happen not just on you but your another department of your company or like your friend, actually you all can do something about it just by sharing with them whatever you hear today. You can look for the replay also. We still put in our Facebook. The Facebook normally after 1 month, if not mistaken, they will delete itself. So you can share with them this video clip to let them know that maybe you can contact us so we can actually sharing about what is the first step that company or their employee, no matter it's organization level or individual level, you can actually contact us. Then we will advise you accordingly what is the first step you can do. So if you would like to explore how the neuroscience and organization psychology can work together for your organization, we'll be very happy to continue the conversation later beyond today. So you can see our contact number is there, WhatsApp, so you can contact us further. So before we end, we can open a 5-minute Q&A. Anyone would like to question, you can type here. You can't open mic because there's no mic for you. So you can leave your comment here and then we have 5 minutes for you. So Dr. Najwa, anything you would like to share further while we're waiting for the comment?
Yeah, I think I just want to make respond to something that you said just now kan, regarding the training needs analysis tu. It is very important. It's not just about mental health kan. I think when we attended the TTT, the basic thing, one of the thing, I think about one day we need to learn about the TNA kan, the training need analysis, so that we can really tailor-make the need. It's not that we are doing mental health program for the sake of just doing it. It's a KPI. This year we need to do one mental health program. So why you want to use the money allocated just for the sake of KPI if it can bring up the morale of the employee, employer, figure out what is the underlying issues and grow together, then yeah, you need to really understand what is the core issue of your organization and you deal with the issue, not just like Dr. Idro cakap tadi lah, oh problem solving kan, like macam stress regulation, but the underlying issue might be communication, might be a few other things that is specifically a problem in your organization, for example. So yeah, better handle your own specific issue rather than just doing a mental health program, a generic one, for the sake of KPI. Yeah, that's
Strongly
how I see
agree.
it. Mm.
That's why if you already in that environment for long, we won't notice the problem one. We can't even see there's an elephant in the room, you know. Yeah, you can't see there's an elephant in the room because you already get used to it. You don't notice the elephant. Yeah, but for us as an external consultant, when we go in, we will see, wow, the elephant's so huge one, but why no one pointing it out? So
Yeah.
that is the basically as an external consultant, we helping an organization, even not only organization but individual. We help them to see the elephant in their space that they never notice it. Even though for us it's so obvious, wow, this is an issue. But trust me, so much of people already in that survival mood for long, they won't notice even there's an elephant there one. They get used to it already. There's the reason why we need a third party perspective. So sometimes you don't necessarily look at us as only like expert in a certain field. You look at us as a third party perspective, but in a more neutral way because we train in more ethically and also like neutral. We won't put in our own personal opinion. We will be more neutrally look at the issue, helping your company, helping your individual, even your community to grow your brain health. Which is that's why we were using like neuroscience informed, trauma informed, psychiatric informed, organization psychology informed way to ensure that we provide as holistic as possible. I think this is something unique about what we can offer. Yeah, even like neuroscience, applied neuroscience technology is very fun, but also like help people to have more engagement. So I think there's no question here. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Najwa. After seeing client, both of us seeing client so much, like seeing patient client for whole day, you see, they're still so semangat. Okay.
Semangat.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is really our vision. We hope that we can help you guys to create some awareness because I believe that in a stage of change, right, awareness, the consciousness raising is always the first stage, helping you to aware that this is not something not relevant to you, but this is something really relevant to every one of us. To create a
Exactly.
better future, start from us. Thank you, Kaishan. Thank you, Meme. Thank you, Louis. And thank you, everyone. I see quite much of people, they stay here for 1.5 hours. Wow, they stay here all the time. Thank you so much, guys. This is our first try. Hopefully, soon we will have another one. And then we will share with you guys. But no worry, if something private, personally, you always can reach out to us. The contact is there. Okay? Down here, you will see the contact. Thank you. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.